ngingasho ngathi umntwana wani unomzali elokishini. That's practically what we call a virgin in Soweto. Excuse the pun. Welcome guys to the Pudi Corner, the GOAT chair. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. I don't know as of yet. I was just put on here. He doesn't want to be known. He doesn't want to be out there. Still baffles me after 3 years of running, But one has to respect and understand, Not sonke sithanda amehla abantu. We don't like to be seen, we don't like to be there. It's not about privacy. It's more of keeping things intact. Where do I start? It's a hot seat. It really is a hot seat. But more or less, it has to dish out. There's more to the words that are put out there. Pudi Nation is not just a movement. It's a movement that looks to inspire and make sure that life is worth living. We live and we live today, and the obstacles, the mountains, the joys, the unhappiness, all wave into fulfilling and shaping who we are. I always say that wherever you are today, whether you're happy or you're in excitement or you're just not satisfied, it's always easy to look out elsewhere or point out, and always blame and always hide yourself. But the real reasons are within you, But you chop things short. I think I need to take you guys down memory lane as to how, where, and what Pudi Nation. Most of you on Twitter know it as the Major Pudi, and how the Pudi name came about. I know it sounds like Pudi, but it's actually Pudi, which is a goat, not the gold man, but the greatest of all time. He's not the greatest of all time. He just started a movement that wants to inspire and make each and every one of you that are part of it to realize that you're actually creating something that you put your mind to. Just like himself, he realized an ambition and the love that he has for writing and putting words into, paper, in this instance on social media. So, and it has grown in leaps and continues to push strength to strength. I always say it's not by our grace, it's not by our, our knowledge and but because of the God that we serve, to be able to instill, and give us the talent and borrow us, and we're able to find and use it and, to overextend ourselves to the next person. Because not only is it words that reach out to many individuals, and not only in South Africa, not only in Gauteng, but all over the country of our beautiful land, South Africa, but also Africa. If I can take you through the insights of what this page goes through on a daily, Instagram being our biggest performing social media platform, it all started on Twitter in 2022 on the 4th month of the year, the 22nd, when the individual wrote, and I quote, "The real people know the real me. The type of grace that I carry is not your mate." And in an essence, it was in a time where he just lost someone that played a huge role in shaping the individual that I am, the family that I come from, and realizing that it is through the real people that know you that it doesn't matter what one person says to the next. The real people know, because the type of grace that each and everyone carry is not anyone's friend. So with that being said, it took that day while I was I had an internship at Trans Africa Radio, and just before I jump into the Trans Africa Radio, I've always been an individual that seems to want to inspire, and inspiring not just by talking but by doings, and being the one that actually create the I concept for people to ask questions, because I'm an individual that also asks questions. I'm very inquisitive. I want to know, but also relevant questions that would ultimately add to my growth as an individual, as collectives within my circle. Um, so in high school, I wanted to be a soccer player. It was everything. I would sit in class and I'd never understand why I have to sit here. I'd always question the system. Why? And looking at the country that we live in, and people graduate. Are we really going to school to just be in debt? Because the majority and vast of the popularity, we really don't come from strong households, parents that can actually easily from high school go take us to varsity with their own pocket, from their own pockets, rather. It's through NASFAS, and automatically that, from my understanding, it's you're in debt, but you need the qualification. And the question also, when you start go job hunting, there's experience that's needed. I mean, where am I going to get 5 year experience if I've just come from a 4 year, 3 year course? So those things, I grew up asking myself questions, but just to erase the question side of things from a high school perspective and me wanting to be a soccer player, from the age of 9, I was always reading newspaper. I'd enjoy sitting, in a toilet and reading. And from reading the newspaper, I'd ask, well, what do these markets mean? Who writes these stories? How do they know that the president is gonna go speak? It used to baffle my mind. It was so interesting. And from that moment, my mom made it a thing that from work she'd always bring me the Star. So that at the workplace she worked at that time, when I was in primary school, she was privileged enough to be able to get access to newspaper. So every day I'd read the Star. And what I'd realize is what I'd read at that point in time is, any black, especially from the township, we always had a routine, from 6, it's your daily teta, for instance, not daily teta rather, but your speak out or call of duty. From then, Hopper 6 would be your skim sam. And from Hopper 6, it's 7 o'clock, it's news. And brings me back to that part that what you'd realize is what I read from the afternoon when mom came back from work is what I read would automatically become like deja vu from the news. So that would create suspicion, would create excitement, because whenever it was just coming up in your news at 7 tonight, and it's just those showing shortlies, I would be like, yeah man, I saw that him or so and so would be talking, or yeah man, I saw that Kaizer Chiefs were gonna sign this and that, all because I read the newspaper prior. So the love then for writing, reading started from there, and being a go-getter. Bearing in mind, I just love football. It was my safe space. It allowed me to express myself. As I said, growing up was not easy. I grew up in an abusive household. So it was not always conducive to, be a child, because you had to always have your guard up, because you never knew what each day would bring in. That then also subsided into building my faith. I was raised in a Christian background, household, and we were always raised to always understand that prayer is everything. You bow down before the Lord and you worship, and He will see you through. So as a child, seeing it, as I'm saying, the midst of all the abuse and understanding that it's not easy. Why do you have to go through that? I had to learn how to cook. I looked after my sister. At the age of 3, I was bathing her, making sure we eat, because half of the time mom was in and out of hospital and the depression ward. So people today question, Pudi Nation, how about that come? Why you, when they hear my age, they are so baffled as to how my reasoning and my understanding of this life is if I've lived before. But I always take them back to my upbringing shaped me, and I always feel that there's choices. Yes, as a child you report to parents, but the way you see things is is entirely on you. What you read, what you choose to listen to, the type of conversations you have, the association that you have. And I was privileged enough to be put in spaces that were in favor and didn't allow one to, actually even realize that you're going to a home where there's noise, there's no peace, it was just. And for instance, my best friend till date, who's Matthew Sharp, really appreciate that guy. And I always say, he's thriving where he is today. He's in America, he just graduated, and I always say to him, he's not gonna come back here. He's destined for great things. It's all the things that his family have done, and I'd like to believe is the blessings that they're reaping toward today. That family allowed me to be in their household every weekend. It was a given that I'm going to Mauritius to be with my friend. My dad enrolled us into the Brazilian soccer schools, which is now today called the Super Sport United Soccer Schools. They collaborated, I think it was the year 2013, who Nick brought the concept of Brazilian soccer school to South Africa. It really helped a lot with my soccer development. It put me out there, privileged enough to go to Italy, represent South Africa at the age of 13 in Rome, Italy. And I started to believe that, it's possible. And as I'm saying, all through a friend that his family saw the vision and the talent that God had blessed me with to actually take me out of the hood and actually, protect it. Through primary school, through high school, and unfortunately, when one finished matric, it was COVID. I'm very young. If you know what COVID was, and when I finished high school, I'll tell you I'm very, very young. There was a lot of uncertainty, especially with soccer, because it's a contact sport, and it was a period where the world was very contactless, if that's a word. An opportunity came within the corporate space to want to grow myself because I hate bothering people, and I took the opportunity and I found myself saying good morning, wearing mini, or what can I say, smart casual, which all my teen years it was always a tracksuit, shorts, carrying a boot bag, cosmetic bag, match day, the language was football. So it was just a chaotic from the grade 11 to, I could say, just before I could start my first year. It was meeting a person that I hold highly, and it's kind of shaped who I am today. Going into radio, studying my own radio, going into the fashion industry, and finding myself in what I actually love, and conversing, into communication, and being able to throw in the deep end and still rise and be possibly the best that I could want to be at that point in time. It shaped me, and I landed an internship at Trans Africa. Landing the internship at Trans Africa, I had a weird name on IG, Twitter had another name, and it was just chaotic. And the individual at the time that I was producing the show sat me down and said, I've been through your Twitter page, and all because, on radio you do mention who you are, the show that you're part of, and all of that. So it was quite intriguing and exciting that an individual that I was looking up to, trying to grasp as much as I can to be in the radio industry, was actually amazed by the things I was writing. And the advice to me was, have a structure, especially in a social media presence, where it's one name. If you're going on Twitter, it's the same on your Facebook, your IG, and that's how my personal social media page became one thing. The display picture is one thing, and that's the structure that was built. And he said to me, also be mindful of the things you say, seeing that you're now in a space where you're followed, is read and all of that. So there was a lot of humor, a lot of silly words here and there that one would say, but that's how I went home and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna throw away this humor side of me, and that's how the birth of Pudi Nation started. Did that conversation and just having a structural um, presence on social media. I didn't want to lose my real self identity, and that's how Pudi Nation was built. And I started on Twitter. The name was tricky because I wanted to say the Duke of Golds. I needed it to be, the greatest of all time. And I say the greatest of all time because I want every individual that was going to come across the page, the post, the reels, the lives, the merchandise to understand that you're great and there's no one above you. You are you and there's no one like you. And it's not there for me to be idolized or to be worshipped. I don't want that. I'm just an ordinary boy with just an extraordinary God. And I think that kind of dissolved the question of why I don't follow anyone. I don't even follow myself. It's for the mere reason to put it out there that why is it that I must follow this one and not this one? But each and every one of you being that you repost, you post, you screenshot to put on your WhatsApps, or you have it as your own. I mean, I have it as my own. There's frames at home. My phone covers are now in my coat, just to remind myself, like the one that I have is the first tweet that I actually wrote, is where I come from, and to always remind me to stay grounded and to always push me that it's possible to go out there. All of this was a vision. There was a vision. As I'm saying, I was struggling to come up with the name until I realized that this could be a page of nations. It's not just for here, in my little space of being in the south of Joburg, but it can be a page of nations. And I stand today, after 2 years, or rather sitting, after 2 years, that it is a page that has gone as far as America. It is a page that has gone as far as Europe, and it is just the belief that I want to instill in anyone that it's not about who you are, what you have, but it's solely a page that wants to remind individuals that do what you can with the little that you have. We'll always want more as individuals. We'll always strive to, I can give you 2 million right now, but if you see 200 grand on the floor, trust me, you'll want to pick it up. So I then concluded that, the nation of Pudi, no, nation of Pudi, no, Pudi Nation. And the word was so catchy, it was fresh, it's something that hasn't been heard of, and Pudi is just a direct translation of goat, Pudi Kastwana, and I just said it's a goat nation, just Pudi Nation. And from there on, I started writing, and people never understood the writing. I'd screenshot, put it on my WhatsApp, and people would see these writings, and I'd see a couple of people would screenshot my status and then put it on their own WhatsApp statuses. And then on IG, it was slow. The numbers were not, I'd go 2 days, 3 days without even having a follower, not even a reaction, until the turning point when Somizi DM'd and DM'd the page, and to my surprise, they wanted the quote that I started the page with, no matter how you describe me. And it was at a point where Somizi was going through that tough hurdle with Mohali, and it kind of resonated with him. And he asked that could he put it on his own page, and that was the start of, I guess, big, great things.
You can fly away.